I want to begin this video by saying I am so sorry if you're subscribed to me because of my teacher content. I know that I have not been posting nearly as much as I would have hoped for, but if there's any indication as to how my first year ever as a teacher is going during a global pandemic while also trying to complete my certification, that pretty much tells you it right there. Okay, so today's video is just an update. I have no notes, no talking points. I kind of just want to tell you guys what's been going on as far as my first year as a teacher and basically just kind of the craziness that I've been experiencing during this year. Left and right, everything keeps getting thrown at me. Not just me, the teachers at my school and in Texas and everywhere in general. But let me actually look and see what was the last teacher video that I posted, because I know it's been a couple weeks, months maybe. So while I'm looking this up, if you're new, hi, I'm Brianna. I'm a first year English teacher. I teach 9th grade English in Texas. This is my first year ever as a teacher, and I'm actually working on becoming certified, which fingers crossed, I'm almost there, but I'll talk about that in this video as well. So my last teacher video, so it actually wasn't a teacher video, there was a vlog I posted mid-February, if you guys remember, when Texas had a snowstorm and basically the entire state shut down because it was just crazy and we were not prepared for that. Well, in that video I mentioned how school kept getting canceled. I think it was like a week or so that they had to cancel school because there was just so much going on. And at the very end of that video, I mentioned that I received an email from my principal that alluded to there being damage in my school. Let me just start with that update. So what ended up happening is that some of the pipes in my building, so pipes can burst whenever they freeze, and I don't know the science behind that, but basically there were some pipes in my school building that burst and essentially flooded my classroom and a couple of the hallways in that area. So no, the entire building did not get flooded, but my classroom was part of that section that did. And so that was a really just unexpected thing that happened. So we've already been struggling with COVID, having to social distance. That keeps changing all the time. I'm sure you guys saw that Texas a couple of weeks ago lifted the mask mandate. So COVID aside, like all that craziness, and then this happens. And so initially, after we were informed that basically our classrooms were flooded and not safe to go back into, there was just a whole bunch of different things being thrown around. Initially, we were under the impression that we would have to teach virtually from 6 to 8 weeks, which would essentially put us at the end of the school year. So this was about mid-February-ish, second or third week of February, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of happy just because sometimes just working from the comfort of your home, I don't know, I was actually kind of happy, kind of sad that of course my classroom had flooded. For me personally, since this was my first year, I honestly didn't have too much in my classroom. Like, I wasn't emotionally attached to anything in that classroom. Everything of value, like my personal MacBook and iPad and stuff like that, I always bring home with me. So I did not have anything of value in my classroom, and I wasn't really attached to any physical item in there. However, there were so many teachers I know who were just really hurting, like teachers who had been there for 10, 15, 20 years. They had really important things in their classroom, and some of them were permanently damaged from water damage and had to be thrown away. And so I do feel for those teachers. I know that at the end of the day, things are just things, but when you kind of like put your heart into it and they're really sentimental, I know that is very painful to have to see those things be thrown away because of this crazy situation that happened. Okay, so after that, we were initially told 6 to 8 weeks working from home, so I had kind of gotten into the mindset of that was what the rest of my school year was going to look like. Come to find out, basically the state of Texas said no. So we had to, not we, this is like my school district, not we like teachers, we don't do any of this stuff. not in my pay zone. So basically the school or school district had to file a like waiver saying like, hey, can we allow these teachers or certain teachers to teach from home for these couple of weeks while our school is being repaired. And essentially the state of Texas said no and denied that because we have to offer both in-person and at-home options for all students, which would not be happening if this whole 2 hallways of classrooms was not being able to offer that. So this was mostly English classrooms, and I think there were a couple of history teachers, maybe a few science. Mostly these 2 hallways that got flooded were all English. So English 1, 2, 3, and 4, and a couple of other subjects. So essentially after that we had to go back in person, but we could not go into our classrooms. So what we did for the last 6 weeks, so right now it is April 10th, and the last 6 weeks basically whatever classroom was directly above us, so I was on the first floor, I was in, if you're in room 2, not 200, if you're on the first floor and you're in room 115, then you will go upstairs to room 215, buddy up, and share a classroom. So for the past 6 weeks, that is what I and all of the other teachers have had to do, is basically share a classroom, which if you're not a teacher, you may think like, why is that such a big deal? What's the problem? It is incredibly inconvenient for both the teacher having to go into someone else's classroom and the teacher who is not being given the option to open their door for someone else to come in. You're sharing with your students, and on top of that, the way this school year has gone is that we are both teaching kids in person and at home. And so typically what my school's been doing is the first half of class is asynchronous. We've come to hate these words. Basically, the first half kids are just doing work on their own, and the second half is synchronous or live class meetings, so you're using Zoom or Microsoft Teams. And obviously if you have 2 teachers in one classroom, you can't both be talking at the same time. So me and my partner teacher who I was sharing with kind of had to like flip, and he ended up doing his live meetings the first half, I would do mine the second half. But even with that flip, it was just so difficult to still have to share a classroom with somebody else. I typically get between 2 and like 8 in-person students per class. The teacher who I was sharing with really didn't have a lot because he had seniors, and so he would maybe only have like 1 to 3 people in person. The biggest struggle was that whenever he was doing his live Zoom meetings and my in-person students needed help, it's so hard to talk to someone, have a conversation while somebody else 5 feet away is also talking. And so there were so many times where I would just kind of go out in the hallway or have to like whisper, and just the whole situation of sharing a classroom was so inconvenient. And oh my gosh, I also started eating, I think, kind of more unhealthy. Because in my classroom, I had my fridge, my microwave, I would pack my lunch and have everything ready to go and like eat right there in my classroom. With being displaced, I sometimes would just drive to Chick-fil-A or drive somewhere and just eat in my car and come back to avoid the awkwardness of like, he's having his class and I'm eating lunch, and so like our lunches didn't match up. There were just so many things that were very inconvenient about sharing a classroom. But positive note is that it was actually kind of nice to have like another adult, another teacher to talk to, because before, most days I would go the entire day without really having super long or thorough conversations with another adult. So that was nice. But yesterday, so Friday, April 9th, April 9th is when we finally got note that it was safe and our classrooms were repaired. And so 6 weeks sharing a classroom, and then yesterday I actually took some of my students downstairs and they helped me kind of like move things back around. In my classroom, the only thing that happened was the carpet had to be replaced, but other than that, my classroom personally did not have too much damage because I don't have drywall in my classroom. I have 2 walls that are like cylinder brick, and then the other 2 are not real walls. I've talked about this before. They're kind of like sliding panels that thankfully did not get damaged. Okay, so that is my update for what's been going on these past couple of weeks. So today is Saturday, I have Sunday off, and then Monday we actually don't have school, which is nice to have a 3-day weekend. So starting on Tuesday, the last grading period begins. I have 6 weeks left until I am done with my first year as a teacher, which is wild. This school year has been absolutely crazy, and if there's one thing I've learned is just to roll with the punches. Like, you honestly, from a snowstorm to COVID to everything about being a teacher, you never know what is going to happen. So I think that this year has definitely just taught me the importance of just going with the flow and being super flexible. They always talk about be flexible and sometimes plans might change. Yeah, this year took so many hard lefts that I am the most flexible I think I could ever be. So other updates on finishing my alternative certification program, I have a whole video about that I'll leave down below. Basically, today is April 10th and my school district gave me the deadline of May 1st to get all my stuff complete. I am a chronic procrastinator, and so this weekend I'm working on wrapping everything up, but at this point I have passed all of my exams I need to pass. I've done all of my coursework. I have one more observation that I'm submitting to my program advisor next week. After that, I just have a couple of like projects, which are like papers. I hate writing papers. I know I'm an English teacher, but come on now. I've been done with college for a couple of years, so I haven't had to like full on write a paper in a while. And then after that, I will be able to be recommended for my standard Texas teaching certification. So that is pretty much where I am at right now. I will definitely give you guys a full detailed video about my Texas Teachers of Tomorrow program once I am all the way done and have my actual like full-on certification. But other than that, I am 6 weeks away from the summer, and I cannot stress this enough how excited I am to not have to go to work for 2.5, 3 months. So that is my update of what's been going on. If you guys are curious about anything else, comment down below. At the end of my school year, so probably like the beginning of June, I want to post a super like detailed video going month by month of how my first year as a teacher has been. So don't worry, that video is coming, and I'm definitely going to like super detail, full on honestly tell you guys everything month by month. But if there's any other like questions or videos you guys would like to see, leave them down below. I promise you guys I'm going to try to start posting more, but like sometimes the work week just gets super stressful. Oh, state testing. So also in about a week, my kids are taking their English 1 star test, which is basically Texas, their standardized tests you have to take to graduate. I'm not going to say my opinion on those, but that will also be in my end of the year update, kind of like test prep, and not what I think about the test, but just how my first year teaching a tested subject has been. So good things are coming. This has been such a crazy school year. I love being a teacher, but it has been a lot. So thank you guys. If you are subscribed and you've been following my journey as a teacher, I really do appreciate that. If you are in the process of becoming a teacher or you're thinking about being one, please know that every single job, not just teaching, comes with its own stresses and difficulties, but teaching is so rewarding, and I love my kids. I love my students. We have the best conversations, and it makes me so happy to have a job that I can go in and make a difference in some of these kids' lives. So please don't take me complaining or just me telling you some of the negative aspects of teaching as a bad thing, because teaching is wonderful and every job is going to have ups and downs. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching my update. I hope that you guys have a great day, evening, weekend, whatever it is for you, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye, y'all.